Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Lose Your Mind podcast with Alan and
Hello there, Alan.
hello, Kelly. And how are you today?
Yeah, I'm feeling great today. Thank you. Really good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. I enjoy these sessions, and so it gives me a bit of a lift. So I'm looking forward to talking about what we're going to talk about today, which is another of the attitudes of mindfulness as prescribed to us by John Kabat-Zinn. And this one we've chosen today because it's very close in topic to the one we did last week, which was acceptance. So this one is letting go. And there are some subtle differences, but similarities between acceptance and letting go. And Kelly, I thought I'd just pass over to you while you just give us some of the great man's wisdom on this topic.
Of course, I'd be happy to. So, as John Kabat-Zinn quotes himself in his book, letting go is cultivating the attitude of letting go or non-attachment. And it's fundamental to the practice of mindfulness. The tendency to want to hold on to what is pleasant in our experience and to reject what is unpleasant is a conditioned human response, sometimes known as being on autopilot. We practice just letting our experience be what it is and observe it carefully. And when we find we can't just let go, we can gently examine how it feels to hold on. This brings us more deeply into a relationship with ourselves and an open space for new responses. So I really like that because I think it's so relatable, and we all hold on to things, don't we? We all hold on to things all the time. I mean, I'm sure you can think of something you might have held on to recently.
Well, yes, absolutely. And I was just thinking, though, I mean, what is, to play devil's advocate, what is wrong with holding on, I guess?
Well, I there is obviously an element of where it's okay to hold on to things. I mean, we all want to hold on to good feelings, don't we? If you're having a laugh with someone, if you're watching a good movie, if you're having some good food, you want to hold on to that feeling. Who doesn't? But we also hold on to patterns and behaviors. So it's a control thing, I think. So from personal experience, I like to be in control of a situation if I feel worried or if I feel like I don't know what's going to happen. So I hold on to the idea or things I think I should be doing. And then I think where we know that our energy follows our thought process, don't we? So all I'm doing there by holding on is feeding that pattern, which is why when I was introduced to mindfulness, for me, letting go was actually the most difficult one for me to do.
Okay. And yeah, I think you're right, because when you said in the passage there about holding on to the pleasant and rejecting the unpleasant, it's just a fact of life that we're just not going to have pleasant feelings and thoughts and events happen all the time, is it? We are going to get, rain in our life kind of thing. So, and the other thing, I think we talk about non-attachment because, mindfulness comes from Buddhism, doesn't it? And, part of Buddhism is, what are the causes of suffering? And one of the causes of suffering is our attachment to things. Why do we attach ourselves to an idea or to a person or to you know, a feeling, a thought, whatever it is? Why do we do that? It's part of the human condition, I suppose. But
Yeah,
we make it so miserable for ourselves by that rejection of the unpleasant.
we do. And I think we obviously just discussed acceptance last week, and you said how closely related they are. And in order to let go, you do have to accept what's going on, don't you? And it's that, as John Kabat-Zinn even states in the book, it's that holding on versus letting go. And I've done it in meditations myself, if we really try and hold on to something really hard, eventually you do actually start to see how you can let go, because it's almost human nature to want to go to the opposite response eventually, isn't it? You can't be stuck in the same thought process the whole time, I don't
Yeah.
think.
So what you're saying is that to learn how to let go, you learn how to hold on and almost kind of religiously hold on to something. You suddenly realize that what you were holding on to, it wasn't the right thing to do. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, eventually, if you hold on so much to the point something's stuck there, whatever that is. So, an example here, just say you've got a really bad headache, just something that most people can relate to or have been through at some point. You've got that pain in your head. And if you're thinking about the headache all the time, you're holding on to how you're feeling, you're obsessed with, oh, I don't feel good, I need this, I can't wait to finish work or whatever it is you're doing. By holding on to that, you're consumed with it, aren't you? So eventually the only other option is to let go. But how do you do that? How do we let go versus the natural response of holding on to how we're feeling? What would you say, Alan?
Well, that's a great question, and it is almost just the acceptance of that you cannot control. We're trying to control everything, aren't we? Trying to control the fact in that example that we don't want a headache, despite the fact we've got a headache. So accepting that it's there is the first step to letting it go. So, which is why they go together, absolutely bang on together.
They
Does that make
do.
sense?
It does make sense. And I do remember you saying to me actually once before about the stubbing toe scenario. That is
Yes.
a very good example of
Stubbing the
letting things
toe.
go.
That's
Do
right.
tell
Yeah.
us about that.
So, yeah, I have this theory that when you stub your toe and you're in a bad mood, you'll be swearing and cursing and dancing around and saying, what the hell? But if you're in a good mood, you almost find it funny. Um, and I guess you've let go of the idea of, well, it hurts because actually it didn't really. It was only that you thought it would hurt in the first place.
And it's that attachment thing again, isn't it? It's that non-attachment. You're attaching things to the way you're feeling, not the actual situation itself. And by slowing things down and creating the distance, we're relating it to stubbing a toe or a headache. But the process is slowing it down and making the distance between whatever is going on for you enables you to let go.
Yeah, you've said it far better than I could. It's taking away, it's letting go of the anxiety that surrounds the condition.
It is. And I think if everybody just gave themselves a minute to try and really hold on to something, they would be surprised with how they naturally distance from that situation.
Mm.
It's like if we go back to the stubbing your toe, if you've stubbed your toe and you try and obsess about your toe, oh, that hurts, oh, bloody door, I wish I hadn't stubbed my toe. Eventually, you're going to start thinking, oh, I wonder what I want for dinner. Oh, I wonder what I've got on next, because you're going to go somewhere else, aren't you? If you're really consumed by it. However, if you flip it, you might be more concentrated on that problem.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah. So how can we practice letting go? For anyone that's listening, what things can they do to help them let go in the world that we live in?
Well, you've
Big
already come
question
up
there.
with one. You've already come up with one, which was, practice the opposite to see. I also think that, I mean, when people think about letting go, when I think about the phrase letting go, I think it can be quite an emotional thing because people think their minds are drawn towards letting go of someone, perhaps. Maybe it's someone they've lost, and bereaved, or end of a relationship or whatever it is, and it's letting go. And and people are afraid of letting go because they don't want to let go of the memory of that person. So I had a client who'd lost his wife, and I was helping him through the grieving process, and I was trying to help him to let go. But there was a distinction between letting go of all the feelings of anxiety and pain that he had around it versus letting go of the person. So that when you strip away the anxiety and the pain, you're actually just left with the good memories of the person. And so you can healthily have a memory of that person in, a state of happiness rather than all the stuff that went around it, which is the same thing with any pain. There's a primary cause and a secondary suffering. And I think you're letting go of the secondary suffering. And if you can learn to see it like that, so using meditation, just, or just sitting and thinking about the topic. So what am I trying to let go of? Is it the person or the thing or the idea, or is it all the periphery that goes around it?
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think people do go down that pathway. You're right. I think we do get stuck in that cycle. And also, it is okay for us to sit with being upset. It's okay for us to sit with sadness and pain and feel grief and all things like that. And I think on the subject of letting go, we need to realize that we can let go of the idea of having to be a certain way. I mean, I was speaking to a family member who's going through a difficult time, and the response I got was, how are you feeling? And they responded saying, well, I'm all right, aren't I? I just have to deal with it. I just have to get on with it. And in my mind, as teaching mindfulness, I thought, well, really, I feel you need to kind of accept a bit about what's going on here so that you can let go of some of the background feeling and the noise, and then actually just move forward with what's actually happening for you, because it's not taking away that problem, but it's processing it in a healthier way with a bit of distance so that you can still get enjoyment at the same time.
Lovely example, actually. And I think it's about what's actually going on, and take the emotion around it, and you're left with actually some more positive emotions, aren't you, perhaps? Because if there's bad news or whatever it is, it might look like the world is black, but actually when you start to strip some of the darkness away, you see that potentially some opportunity in it, and it helps you think in a different way as well. So
I agree. And meditation, that can be used all the time. We're both big fans of it. That helps you practice letting go all the time, letting go of everything that keeps coming up. And with this pandemic situation that the whole world is living in right now, everybody tries to hold on to what's next, what's going to come, what freedoms we have, what restrictions we may have, what may or may not have happen. But by letting go of all of the things that we're all hearing and really trying to just be present with ourselves, you can still get some enjoyment and see the positives in what's right in front of you right now, because we need to let go of what's going to happen. We need to be in today, and then we can enjoy where we are.
I like it. And there's always a choice, isn't there, at the end of the day? And that's what I would encourage people to think is, what's going on and what are my choices now?
Yeah, so hopefully that's given people a bit of an idea about how letting go fits in. And we'll be back next week if you're happy to have another chat, Alan, about some of the other attitudes of mindfulness.
Always, Kelly, always. So thank you for listening, everybody. And we hope you have a good day. See you next time on Lose Your Mind.
Yeah, thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.